Good afternoon, everyone. Together, Ireland and Mexico delivered this statement in our capacity as co-chairs of the Security Council Informal Expert Group on Women, Peace and Security. The Taliban's announcement over the weekend that women must cover their faces in public and should not leave their homes except in case of necessity is utterly deplorable. It's now abundantly clear that the Taliban have no intention of upholding their commitments to the international community or indeed to the Afghan people, in particular women. What we feared is becoming the reality. They are returning to their cruel ways of the past. Our thoughts are with the women and girls of Afghanistan, who are now facing some of the harshest restrictions imaginable. The international community has a moral responsibility to act. The Security Council has a mandate to do so. We must be united in condemning policies that seek to exclude half of a country's population from public life. Ireland and Mexico, as co-chairs of the Informal Expert Group on Women, Peace and Security, have written a letter to the Security Council. Together, we call on all members to unite and express clearly the Council's rejection of the Taliban's actions, which are systematically erasing the rights of women and girls in Afghanistan.
Mexico and Ireland are extremely concerned about the increasing reports of multiple forms of gender-based violence, including repressions, abductions, and killings. The gradual curtailment of women's rights is irrefutable. First, the announcement last March on restrictions on the right to education, and now further restrictions. In this regard, firstly, we wish to express our full support to UNAMA, which has, since the latest renewal, a clear mandate to monitor and report on violations, abuses, and reprisals committed against women, and to support and promote gender equality, women and girls' empowerment, and the full protection of their human rights, including education. Secondly, the appointment of the UN Special Rapporteur will undoubtedly contribute to monitor human rights violations in Afghanistan. The rights of women and girls must be front and center in our collective engagement regarding the situation in Afghanistan. Mexico and Ireland will spare no efforts to ensure this issue stays at the top of the Council's agenda. Accordingly, we fully support the draft presidential statement proposed by Norway and which remains currently under negotiation. This Council must swiftly speak out in one voice to unequivocally condemn the restrictions announced by the Taliban. We thank you.
Thank you, Ambassadors. We have time for a couple of questions. If we'd like to start with Ibtisam from Al-Arabi.
Thank you. My name is Ibtisam Azim from Al-Arabi Al-Jadid newspaper. Just a quick follow-up first on Afghanistan. So how do you want to find the balance between putting pressure on the Taliban and not having the economy totally collapse? And do you have the Security Council united behind you? And I have a very quick question on Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, who was killed in Jerusalem, in Jenin. Do you have any comments on that? And do you believe that the security, on your national capacity, and do you believe that the Security Council should issue a statement? Are you working on that? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so if I may, I'll address the shocking killing of Shireen Abu Akleh in Jenin yesterday. I strongly condemn the horrific killing. There should be a swift and an independent, thorough investigation of what led to her death. Shireen, I know, was a respected reporter. She was a real veteran of her art. I know known to many of you in front of me here today. So I want to express my deepest sympathy to you as a community of journalists, but also to say that to her family, we send our deepest condolences. Just to underline one more time, I've done it many times here, journalists cannot and should not be targeted in this way. And so again, deep sympathy. Yes, the Security Council should express its horror at the killing of an independent journalist in such circumstances, even pending any investigation that's underway. She was doing her job. She was an independent operator. She should be alive today. To get back to your question, if I may, and maybe Alicia will add to it, on the question of so-called, you use the term balance between the humanitarian need and the rights of Afghan women. We look at humanitarian need as an absolute driven by humanitarian need itself. It's not something we balance against anything else. It's quite clear the Taliban is incapable of looking out for its own people. It's incapable of feeding people. We know that there are huge numbers of people in serious, over 12 million, I gather, people in need of serious food support, in acute food insecurity. That needs to be addressed. However, there is no question that in addressing the need of vulnerable people, we are in any way condoning, and indeed we're condemning, both of us here today, the action of the Taliban in erasing fundamental human rights, the rights of women and girls in Afghanistan. There is no balancing, there is no link. You respect fundamental human rights, point à la ligne, as we might say. Yeah.
Mexico, the same way as Ireland on the second question. We believe that the humanitarian side should be addressed. You know, that is something urgent that you never leave aside, and that's absolutely a priority. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that you do not condemn as well, you know, the actions undertaken by the Taliban at any point. And there will be as many messages that we would need to deliver here because we believe that we should be behind those women and girls, because we were supposed to be hearing from the Taliban that they would be behaving in a different way, and it hasn't been the case. Thank you.
Maybe then one final question from Al Jazeera.
I'm Gisana Bukwik with Al Jazeera Arabic. I just wanted to ask, would you support an international investigation in our colleague Shireen's killing? And if the Security Council will put out a statement, how would that come about? What steps should be taken in the coming days to put out a statement?
Well, the first thing is we're calling for a thorough, independent investigation. I won't qualify that anymore. If we are guaranteed that we have a thorough, independent investigation into the incident and the death, then we will be satisfied. On the other hand, we should speak out. I favour that we as a council address the issue, and the way that happens is the normal way. We will consult with our colleagues internally. There are some discussions already underway, as I'm sure you know.
Would an Israeli investigation be independent?
We will wait to see what we're told is happening, but we want to see a thorough and independent investigation.
Thank you very much, guys. I think there's